Today I'm going to explain you about the PyCharm, which is a GUI-based Python interpreter that can help you to execute the Python code. There are a few versions of the PyCharm that are not freely available. So what you will do is, or you first need to search PyCharm edu version, and the edu version is here. You will click over the edu version, and then when you will click over the edu version, so then you will download it from here, and after you will download that PyCharm, so that will be visible for you like this. We will write a code over here. This is basically a GUI-based interface that helps you to write the Python code. Most of the time, we are not sure which version will work. So the PyCharm edu version will work. That is only for the educationist, and the PyCharm Professional is also available. That is not free, but the PyCharm edu is free of cost. Now we are supposed to open a Python file. So what you will do is that you need to create a new project, and first we will create the project. Like, we can write here first project, and then we will create this project. Yes, this window. So it is creating a virtual environment first, and then in that environment we will create Python files. So now we have main.py. It has opened here. You can create a new file, go to the new, and then in new file you can click on the Python file. Here we can provide the name here, types. So we have provided the name types, enter, and then it will create a types.py file, as you can see here. So types.py file is being written there. So the things that we are supposed to cover in today's lecture are the types, variables, and the strings. So we understand these concepts by writing a program, because that will be easier for you to get to know about these things. So uh, we are writing a program now that will read the floating point value from the user, and it will calculate the time to drive and fly the distance. So we will use here the built-in function float, and we will use that float function when we will read the input which has been given by the user, because input is being provided in a string, and we need to convert that into the floating point value. Therefore, we have to do the typecasting. So all such stuff we will look into after a while. First, we have created a variable named miles, and here we are taking an input from the user, asking a user enter a distance in miles. User will provide you the distance. Just you need to remember that input is a built-in method in a Python that assists you to take an input from the user, and it is taking input by default in string. You need to convert that input into your desired type. Okay, here our desired type is float. Okay, so what we will do here is that we will do a typecasting and write here float. And what this statement is doing, it is taking input from the user. Whatever the user has provided the input, convert that input into the float and then will assign to the miles. On the left hand side, this is a name of a variable and is equal to float input and a distance in miles. So whatever you will take an input from the user, you will convert that into the float and then you will assign to the miles variable. Okay, so now we have another variable, hours to fly is equal to miles divided by 500.0. We have another variable, hours underscore to underscore drive is equal to miles divided by 60.0. So we have created two more variables. One is hours to fly and the other one is hour to drive. So just remember that these are the user defined variables. It can be any of the name that you want to give. I want to give hours to fly and I want to give hours to drive. These are the two other variables. And the value that the user has provided, I'm using it here. Okay, and then I want to divide that value with 500. Once I want to represent that value here as hours to fly. If I want to represent the same value as hours to drive, so I need to divide that with the 60. And then after whatever it will compute the value, we want to look at that output as well. So the print is a built-in statement or a built-in method in Python that assists you to print the values that you have been computed through the set of instructions given as a code. So we have the print statement here, which will present the values of the miles, and now it will present the value for the fly, hours to fly, and I need to write here hours to fly. And now we have third print statement. In this print statement, we are providing the variable name, which is hours to drive, and now we have written here hours to drive. We have a three print statement, as I mentioned earlier, that the print is a method in a Python. Once when you want to print anything or what your code is producing, so you want to look at the output as well. So print is a statement that will help you to look at the output of the Python statements that you have been written. So the first print statement letting us know the value of the miles that the user has provided. So miles is a variable which will represent the value from here. And after that we have comma and then we have miles would take. So that is the string which has been written under the quotes. So whenever you will write the things under the quotes, that represented as it is on the output screen. And when you have another print statement, print hours to fly. Hours to fly, whatever the value will be computed from here at the line number 2. So that value will pass over there, and then after hours to fly will be visible to you. And then whatever value is being computed here in the statement number 3, which is hours to drive, that value will pass over here, and then after R2 drive will be visible to you. So it's time to execute the code now. So we will click on this green button, and here it prompts the user enter a distance in miles. So suppose I have provided the value here 2,500. So as you can see that because of these print statements, we are being able to look the output here at the screen. So the first one here is miles would take, so here 2,500 I have provided, but that has been converted into the float. As you can see, after converting that into the float, so miles has a value now 2,500.0. So this is a value that the miles has now 25,000.0 miles would take. So now if you will divide that into the 500, so hours to fly, now 5 hours to fly has been visible to you because hours to fly computed the value, and it has a value now of hours to fly is 5. And if you compute the value for hours to drive, so after computing the value, it will produce 41.66, and this much amount of hours required to drive. So this is hours to drive will be visible to you as it is. As you can see here, it is visible in the same way as it has been presented over here, because that has been presented in the codes. And as I mentioned earlier, whatever you will be written in a code, that will be visible to you in the same way on output screen. So we have seen this program, and in this program we learn a few things. The first thing is we learn about the variables, that these are the names which are supposed to behave as a container, and the nature of these variables will be assigned according to the value that we are giving to them. So single equal to means that you are assigning some value to the miles, you are assigning some value to hours to fly, you are assigning some value to hours to drive. And whatever you have assigned the value to them, so you are now printing those values because you want to see output as well on the screen. Therefore, print statement is there. And in this statement, so you just call the value miles, you just call the hours to fly, and you just call hours to drive, and here you go. This is the output that you have been produced from this program. Okay guys, so see you in the next video then.